Good evening, folks. It's your bro, Richie Rich here. Today's video is now part 4. So that's our part 4 on the Nissan Silvia. Today's video I'll be talking to you about the next version of this car, which is the Silvia S12. So this could be pretty cool. Before I start, make sure you all like the video, subscribe. Say like the video, subscribe. Say subscribe. Comment down below what you guys think. Comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell and hit all, so you're alerted of when I make brand new uploads. Alright. So, without any further ado, let's begin. So we're now on the S12 Silvia. So let's begin. So overviews first. So let's do it. So let's begin. Let's begin. So it's also called the 180. So 180 ZX in Sweden. 190 SX. So it's also called the 180 ZX. So 180 ZX. So 180 ZX in Sweden. 190 SX in Argentina. 200 SX in North America. And the Nissan Gazelle, which is spelled G-A-Z-E, so G-A-Z-E, or G-A-Z-E, so G-A-Z-E-L-L-E, so G-A-Z-E-L-L-E, in both Japan, so in both Japan and North America, not North America, sorry, Japan and Australia. There we go. Almost got it wrong, but I managed to correct myself just in time. Thank God. So the Nissan Gazelle in both Japan and Australia. Production was from August 1980. Production was from August 1983 to 1988. So from 1983 to 1988. Assembly is in the town of Kanda, or Kandamachi, as they call it, in which is a town located at the Miyako district in Fukuoka. So in Fukuoka prefecture in Japan. So assembly is at the Nissan Kyushu. So Nissan Kyushu plant in Kanda, Fukuoka. So Kanda, Fukuoka, Japan. So Japan. Body and chassis next. For body style, 2 types there is a 2-door coupe and a 3-door hatchback. The layout is front engine rear-wheel drive layout, or the FR layout for short. So FR layout is basically front engine and rear-wheel drive. So front engine and rear-wheel drive. So that's the layout. The platform is the platform is the Nissan S. So Nissan S platform. Powertrains. Next up we got is engine. There is so for engine there is 6 versions of the engine you can go with. So the first one is a 1.8 liter, so 1.8 liter naturally aspirated CA18S slash E, so slash E slash DE, so DE inline 4. Then we got another, so then we got a 1.8 liter CA CA18ET slash, so yeah, it's 1.8 liter CA, so CA18 CA18ET slash CA18DT turbo inline 4. Then we got a 2 liter naturally aspirated, so 2 liter naturally aspirated KA20E. So yeah, KA20, so KA20E. Sorry, a 2 liter 2 liter 2 liter naturally aspirated. So yeah, a 2 liter naturally aspirated CA20E. So 2 liter naturally aspirated CA20E. So CA20E. So 2 liter naturally aspirated CA20E inline 4. Then we got a 2 liter, so 2 liter FJ20E naturally aspirated inline 4 for the GP version. And then we got a 2 liter, so 2 liter FJ20, so FJ20 ET turbo, so turbocharged inline 4. So turbocharged, so 2 liter FJ20, so FJ20 ET, so FJ20 ET turbocharged, so 2 liter, so 2 liter FJ20, so FJ20E, so FJ20T, oh, so FJ, hold on, breathe, so take a deep breath, and breathe out. One more time, breathe in, and breathe out. Do that one just in case. So we got a 2 liter, so 2 liter naturally aspirated CA20E, so CA20E, so CA20E inline 4. Then a 2 liter FJ20, so FJ20, so FJ20E inline 4 for the GP. And then we got a 2, so those two are naturally aspirated. And then we got a, so a 1.8, so engine 1.8 liter CA18S EDE inline 4 naturally aspirated. Then 1.8 liter CA18ET, CA18DT turbo inline 4. Then a 2 liter, so 2 liter CA, 2 liter naturally aspirated CA20E, so CA20E, so 2 liter naturally aspirated CA20E inline 4, so CA20E inline 4. Then a 2 liter naturally aspirated, so 2 liter naturally aspirated FJ20, so FJ20E, so FJ20E, so 2 liter naturally aspirated FJ20E inline 4 GP, so inline 4 GP. And then we got a 2 liter, so 2 liter 2 liter FJ20 ET, FJ20, so FJ20 ET turbo, say turbo inline 4. So that's for the RSX version, so RSX version of the car. And then the last one we got is the glorious naturally aspirated, so naturally aspirated so 3 liter, that's right, 3 liter, 3 liter, say 3 liter, 3 liter VG30E, so 3 liter naturally aspirated, so naturally aspirated VG30, VG30, so VG30E, so VG30E, so VG30E, so VG30, so VG30 or 30E V6. Pretty cool. I mean, but still a bit unusual that a Silvia has a V6 because most of them are inline 4 turbos. But it's cool with a V6. I mean, a 3 liter naturally aspirated VG30 VG30E VG30E V6. So 3 liter naturally, so 3 liter, 3 liter naturally aspirated VG30E V6. So 3 liter naturally aspirated. Say 3 liter naturally aspirated VG30E. So VG30E. So VG30E V6. It's a naturally aspirated V6. Sorry if I kept screwing up just because I can't talk properly. Transmissions, 2 versions you can have. Is the first one is kind of good, a 5-speed manual, so that's good. And then the next one is a 4-speed, so 4-speed, so 4-speed L4, so 4-speed L4 L4N71, so L4N71 L4N71 slash, so L4N71 slash E4N71 automatic. Next up, dimensions, wheelbase 2400, and so 2400 2400 can't talk properly because now that I sounding like myself that much, guys kept screwing up always with the words. I can't really talk properly. And also I shaved as well, looking fresh. So next part, which is the important one, dimensions. So for wheelbase is first wheelbase, so wheelbase 2400 and so 2425, so 2425 millimeters. So wheelbase 2400 and 25, so 2425 millimeters, which is 95.5, so 95.5 inches. It's not bad. For length, there's 2 types. It's between 4400, so 4400, so 4430, so 4430 to 4400, so from 400, so 4430 to 4460 millimeters, which is between 174, so 174.4 to 175.6, so 175.6 inches. So the one with the shorter length is for the 1984, so 1984, 1986 model. So for the shorter one, For the one that has the shorter lengths, it's for the that one's for the 1984. So 1984. So 1984 to 1986 model. So that one's for the shorter wheelbase. Well, shorter lengths. And then the one with the slightly longer wheelbase, I would say, is for the 1987. So 1987 to 1987 to 1988 versions. So lengths between 4430 to 4460 millimeters, which is 174.4 to 175.6 inches. So for the shorter one is from the year 1984 to 1986. Longer one is from the year 1987 to 1987 1987 to 1988. So that was for length. Okay, length 1984 4413 millimeters, 174.4 inches. 1987 4460 millimeters, 175.6 inches. Alright, we're on the right track. Just checking just to be sure. So just checking if we're on the right track just to be sure. But yeah, we're good. Alright, next up is width. So width for the width is between 1600 and 1660, say 1660. So between 1660 to 1669 millimeters, which is between 65.4 to 65.7 inches. So it's the difference between those 9 millimeters, 0.3 inches. The shorter one is for the 1984-86 model. The slightly longer one is for the 1987-88. So 1987-88 model. Height. Height is between 1200. So 1280. 1280. Say 1200. So 1280. So between 1200 and 1200, so 1280 to 1330 millimeters. Between 50.4, so 50.4 to 52.4 inches. So that's the difference between those 50 millimeters, 2 inches. Longer one is for the 1984, 80. So the longer one, so the one with a slightly longer, not longer, but for the one that's slightly higher is for the 1984-86 model, and then the one that's slightly shorter is for the 1987 to 1988 model. So 50.4 inches. So 50.4 inches. Curb weight. So curb weight is 1100. And so 1100 and so 1170. So 1170 kilos. Below 1.2 tons, which is pretty good. I mean, below 30 kilos from that kind of target. Well, pretty good. Not bad. So 1170 kilos. So 1100 and so 1170. So 1170 kilos. So curb weight 1100, 1100 and 1100, so 1100, 1170, so 1170, so 1170 kilos, which is 2,580 pounds for curb weight. Sorry if I'm screwing this up because can't really talk that well. I apologize. But hopefully for my next Silvia video will be a little bit better. Hopefully, I don't know, but I'll find out. The S12 was produced from August 1983. So from August 19, so the S12 was the S12 was the S12 the S12 was released. Not released, sorry. The S12 was produced. So the S12 was produced from August. So the S12 was produced from August 1983. So from August 1983. So 1983 to 1980. So 1989. Sort of like that, between like from the early to like very late. It's like early to very late 1980s. So early to very late. So early to late 80s. With revisions to the exterior trim. So exterior trim in 1986, referred to as Mark II. It used retractable pop-up headlights, which I think they're cool. Do you guys think pop-up headlights are cool? Comment down below if they are. Some people think they're cool, others not so much. But me, as an 80s, 90s enthusiast, even though I wasn't from that time, but I still think they're cool, I am a huge fan of pop-up headlights for cars. I mean, think about it. You name any car that has pop-up headlights, you know, like AE86s, sorry, AE86s, S12 Silvia, probably Mazda MX-5 Miata, BMWs like the 850 Ci, the older one with the V12. What else? 60s, I think Corvette would have the pop-up headlights. What else? 1980s 300ZX, Nissan. What else? I don't know, like, there's so many cars with pop-up headlights. Just, like, those are the main ones I could think of. Like, there's so many other cars with pop-up headlights, and I think they're pretty cool, you know? Super cool. Literally the best. So the S12 was produced from August 1983 to 1989, with revisions to the exterior trim in 1986, referred to as Mark II. So we're on our track. A used retractable, pop-up headlights, which I still think they're cool. Do you guys think they're cool? Let me know in the comments below if pop-up headlights are cool, because I think they're pretty cool. So a used retractable pop-up headlights. So headlights, and was sold in two configurations: a coupe, often called a notchback, due to the side profile view of its rear window section, and a hatchback version. So hatchback version, or a coupe, or maybe a compact version, whichever way works best. Say version, which bore heavy resemblance resemblance to the liftback versions of the Toyota Corolla 11, which is known as the Toyota Sprinter Treno. You may recognize this as one of the initial D vehicles, mainly the A.A. 86 and A.A. 85. Well, mainly the A.A. 86 was used, but I mean they both look almost the same. Just the front end of the cars look like similar. I was gonna say different, but similar is better. They look kind of similar, you know. So he used retractable pop-up headlights, and was sold in two configurations: a coupe, often called a notchback, due to the side profile view of its rear window section, and a hatchback version, which bore heavy resemblance to the liftback versions of both the Corolla 11 and Sprinter Treno AE86, which I think is this one, like the AE86, for me is like literally one of the best all-time cars ever. So out of those two, that have either the Corolla 11 or the Sprinter Treno AE86, I would go with. I'd go with the Sprinter Treno A86, mainly because the initial D franchise is just really a perfect car. If someone would say to me, which would you go with out of the two rival cars, the R32 GTR or an AE86? I mean, I love the R32, don't get me wrong, it's cool, but I'd go with the AE86 because it's much lighter and it's like, and it literally just smoked, I believe it smoked out the R32, I'm not 100% sure. I used to see, I think there was some TV show, I'm not too sure, but it was Japanese. I think it was a real life TV show, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I saw it before, where it was real life, realistically, in the movie where the Toyota beats the Skyline, literally, and that's just pretty cool. So, use retractable bubble headlights, some sold in two configurations, coupe, often called a notchback, due to the side profile of its rear window section, and a hatchback version, which bore heavy resemblance to the liftback versions of the Corolla 11 and Sprinter A86. Sprinter A86 are on the right track. A number of different a number of different engines were equipped in the S12 chassis, depending on both the geographic market and production year. Production year. Also a change in available engines, again with the Mark II version. The NAPS or NAPS, so NAPS system. So the NAPS or NAPS NAPS system was carried over on the CA20E. So CA20E CA20E, which replaced the Z or Z engines of the S110. So the S110 S110 in North America, a CA18 ET 1.8 liter, 1.8 liter turbo engine with ECCS. So ECCS, which is the electronic concentrated engine. So ECCS stands for electronic concentrated engine control system. It's an engine control system. Which is a microprocessor. So in the Nissan ECCS system, so electronic concentrated engine control system has contributed to both better fuel economy, and lower exhaust emission level, so lower exhaust emission levels. So that's good. So a CA18, ET 1.8 liter, so 1.8 liter turbo engine with ECCS was added for SE trims. So SE trims, certain US trims had the S12 equipped with the optional VG30E. So VG30E. So VG30. So VG30E. So VG30E. So VG30E. So VG. Anyway. So certain US trims had the S12 equipped with the optional VG30E. So VG30E. VG30E V6 engine. I should get it right somehow. Also shared by the 300ZX. So 300ZX. So 300ZX. 300. So 300ZX. So 300. ZX. So 300ZX. Z31. So 300ZX. Z31. The FJ20, so the FJ20, FJ20 was replaced. So it was replaced with the CA18 DET turbo engine in the Mark II revision in markets where it's offered. Where it's offered. Next up is the Japanese versions. So these are the versions from in Japan. As with the S110, so as with the S110 or S11, I will call it, the S12 chassis. So the S12 chassis in Japan was badged as both a Silvia, and a Gazelle. The S12 Silvia, say S12 Silvia in Japan was only, so the S12 Silvia in Japan, so in Japan was available in a hatchback as a basic model only, or as a coupe or the Cubo Coupe notchback in the base, RS, and RSX trims, and exclusive to NPS, which is Nissan Print Store. So Nissan Print Store, Japanese dealerships, as a junior, junior companion, junior companion, junior companion, companion, com, can't talk, companion, to the Skyline. The S12 Gazelle, so S12 Gazelle, was strictly a hatchback, available in standard RS and RSX. So standard RS and RSX variants, not to be confused with, like, I believe the Acura RSX. I'm not 100% sure. So variants and exclusive to Nissan. So exclusive to Nissan store locations as a junior companion to the Fair Lady ZX or ZX. Fair Lady ZX. The RS was equipped with a 2-liter, the 2-liter naturally aspirated DOHC dual overhead cam FJ engine, so inline 4 I think it was. Yeah. So inline 4 or straight 4 valve. So the RS was equipped with the 2-liter DOHC, dual overhead cam, FJ naturally aspirated inline 4 engine, the FJ20E, inline 4, while the RSX was equipped with a turbocharged version, with a turbo version of the same engine, which was known as the FJ20E, FJ20E-T. So the FJ20E was naturally aspirated, but then we got the same one, but it's known as the FJ20E-T because it's got a turbocharger to it. So in 1987, Nissan discontinued. So in 1987, Nissan discontinued. So Nissan discontinued. So Nissan themselves discontinued. So Nissan discontinued the FJ series engine in the S12, and replaced it with the CA18 DET, also with dual cams, or twin cams, but a bigger turbocharger, which this engine was also known as the CA18. So CA18 DET. The CA18 DET. Japanese spec Gazelle models came with many options like voice command, fog lights, and a variety of different engine options. So there's 5 of them. The 5 options you can have is a FJ20E, FJ20E-T, which is turbo, CA18DE, CA18DE, CA18E, and a CA18 DET turbo. The RSX model also came with different factory alloy wheels. So different factory alloy wheels. Say alloy wheels. When the S13 Silvia Silvia was introduced in 1988 in Japan. The Gazelle nameplate. Gazelle nameplate was replaced with the 180. 180 SX. Replaced with the 180 SX. 180. 180 SX as a junior companion to the 300. 300Z. The 300ZX. In Australia, there would not be a replacement until the introduction of the Silvia-based 200 SX in 1995. Next up is the North American versions. And we all know how those are, because those versions don't have great power outputs compared to its European counterparts. But what can we do? Nothing much. So, the North American versions. The S12 series. So S12 series was badged as the Nissan 200. Nissan 200 SX in North America. It's introduced in February 1984. 4 months behind the rest of the Nissan's 1984 models. So it was behind June, roughly right there. So 4 months behind the rest of the Nissan's 1984 models. For fear that the North American market wouldn't be as profitable as other markets throughout, Nissan executives only scheduled the manufacturing of 5,000 of each trim package slash engine options. In the final 2 years. 2 years before the halt of production for the US, which was in 1988. So the late 1980s. So in the late 80s. The S12 XE. Notchback coupe was only available with a 2-liter single overhead cam, so SOHC, naturally aspirated, so a non-turbocharged engine, and made available with either a 5-speed manual, or a 4-speed automatic gearbox. So for the CA20, so for like the CA20E, the hatchback received both the 2 liter and the 1.8 liter turbo non-intercooled engine, the CA18 ET. So both engines were SOHC. However, the 2-liter SOHC was naturally aspirated. The 1.8 liter SOHC was turbocharged without even an intercooler to it. What? That's just wrong. so non-intercooled. So the hatchback received both the 2-liter, so the 2-liter, so 2-liter SOHC and a 1.8 liter SOHC turbo, turbo, turbo non non so non so non-intercooled engine, the CA18 CA18 ET for 1987 sorry 1987 in the US, Nissan discontinued. So discontinued. So Nissan themselves, as Nissan discontinued the turbo model. Turbo model, and created the SE model, which had a 3-liter, 3-liter naturally aspirated single overhead cam, or SOHC, VG30E V6 engine. So V6 so V6 engine. So V6 engine, which is pretty cool. So pretty cool. I mean, naturally aspirated or turbocharged, it's still pretty cool. Supercharged, I don't know. It's kind of a bit weird. I mean, supercharged V6s. I mean, I know supercharged V8s, but supercharged V6s, I don't know. I mean, not as such. I mean, turbos are just much better for V6 cars. So, anyways, for 1987 in the US, Nissan discontinued the turbo model and created the SE model, which had a 3-liter naturally aspirated SOHC single overhead cam, single overhead cam, VG30E, said a little bit better, V6 engine, generating 160 horsepower, 160 horsepower, and 236, so 236 newton meters, 236 newton meters, so 236 newton meters, 174 pound-feet of torque. So 174 pound-feet of torque. 174 pound. So 174 pound-feet. So 174 pound-feet of torque. This was similar to the engine offered in the naturally aspirated. So naturally aspirated Z31 300. So Z31 300ZX for that I can't talk, for that generation. There we go. For that generation. This model received the RVS12. So this model received the RVS12 model code. For 1988, the SE model received 5 horsepower more, so a 5 horsepower increase from using the later W series revisions of the VG30E engine, with a total output of 165 horsepower. So a little bit better, but still not much. So 165 horsepower. So 165 horsepower. So 165 horsepower. While torque remained the same at 236 newton meters, 174 pound-feet. So 174 pound-feet. next up is the European versions. So the S12 chassis. So S12 chassis. So S12 chassis in Europe was badged as a Silvia, with the notable exception of Sweden, where it's sold as the 180ZX. So 180ZX. ZX is traditionally ZX is traditionally associated with the Nissan Z cars. The name change was done to avoid giving the car the same name as the Queen of Sweden. Her name is Queen Silvia. So Queen Silvia. So born Silvia Renate Sommerlath. Who her actual name is Silvia Renate, also known as the Queen of Sweden. Born December 23rd, so 2 days, or 1 day before Christmas Eve, and 2 days before Christmas Day, 1943, so that was 2 years before the Second World War ended. From Heidelberg in Germany. So the name change was done. So the S12 chassis in Europe was badged as a Silvia, with a notable exception of Sweden, where it's sold as the 180ZX. ZX is traditionally associated with the Nissan Z cars. The name, so traditionally associated with the Nissan Z cars. The Nissan Z cars. The name change, so with the Nissan Z cars, the name change was done to avoid giving the car the same name as the Queen of Sweden. The ZX name was also used because Nissan's Swedish importer decided to stop carrying the Z31. Z31 300ZX, 300ZX, when the naturally aspirated version was discontinued for Europe. The Silvia acted as a partial replacement for the Z car. So for the Z car, in that region, the European, so the Euro S12, was available only in the hatchback configuration. Few were equipped with a rally package that included a rally foot brace, for the navigator, headlight guards, headlight dust cleaners, with the same turbocharged CA 18ET SOHC engine, so 1.8 liter inline-4, used in North America, and in some areas the 2 liter naturally aspirated DOHC FJ engine, which is known as the FJ20E. Say FJ20E. So FJ20E. These models equipped with a rally pack. So equipped with a rally package. So equipped with a rally pack. So for like rallying, it's like driving on dirt tracks and whatnot. It's like almost like a rally car. So these models equipped with a rally package. I say rally package, or dubbed rally spec. Say rally spec. The FJ engine. So FJ engine series. So the FJ engine. So FJ engine. So FJ engine series was originally, so the FJ engine series was originally designed for the DR30. So DR30 Nissan Skyline, so Skyline chassis in both turbo and naturally aspirated versions. The CA18, so CA18 so the CA18 so the CA18 ET was also available catalyzed, so with a catalytic converter, producing more than like 120 horsepower roughly right now. So around 125, like producing 125 horsepower. I believe it's the same as a modern 2010, I believe, or I think it was 2012. I'm not 100% sure. Ford Fiesta. So Ford Fiesta. 1 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged EcoBoost. So EcoBoost, the one with 125 horsepower. That was the one that was used in Top Gear when they were in Ukraine, or Ukraine as they'll call it, traveling through the Crimean Peninsula. Then where else? Sevastopol, and then the capital city of Kiev, and then all the way past the border of Belarus and into Chernobyl, where they had that huge reactor explosion. Because when the fourth reactor exploded, so when reactor number 4 exploded back in back in 1986, when the reactor number 4 exploded, it released a radioactive cloud that was so devastating that for 20,000 years, the entire area will remain uninhabitable. So clearly, it literally is a ghost town there. It's like not one single soul was even there, not one, like at all. So it's a complete ghost town there. It's a complete ghost town. Anyway, so the FJ engine series was originally designed for the DR30 Skyline. So DR30 Skyline chassis in both turbo and naturally aspirated. Turbo and naturally aspirated versions. The CA18 ET was also available catalyzed, producing 125 horsepower. So 125 horsepower. Next up we got is the Australian versions. So there's not much on it, but was the Australian versions of the car. The S12 chassis. So the S12 chassis in Australia. So in Australia, released in October 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 19 October 1980 October 1983. Can't even talk. October 1983. Say October 1983. October 1983. There we go. Which was badged as a gazelle. So was badged as a gazelle. So was badged as a gazelle. Was badged as a gazelle. The Australian gazelle was available in both hatchback and coupe. So hatchback and coupe variants. It's equipped with the same 2-liter, naturally aspirated, SOHC, so single overhead cam, CA20E, inline 4 engine, found in North America, producing 105 horsepower. So 105 horsepower. It's 105 horsepower at 5,200 RPMs and 160 newton meters. So 160 newton meters. 118, right? That was like 120 pound feet. It's like 120 pound feet of torque at 3,200 RPM. Say 3,200 RPM. Say 3,200 RPM. This engine was mated to either a five speed manual. It's a five speed manual. It's a 5-speed manual. So 5-speed manual. So 5-speed manual, or a 4-speed automatic, or a 4-speed automatic, 4-speed automatic gearbox. Trim levels comprised. Well, trim levels comprised the GL hatchback. So GL hatchback, which is the basic version, and the luxury orientated SGL coupe, which is a more luxurious version of the basic GL hatchback. So the trim levels comprised the GL hatchback, basic, and the luxury orientated SGL coupe. According to the May 1984 brochure, the coupe added alloy wheels, mud flaps, electric windows, mirrors, antenna, a six speaker sound system over the original 4-speaker sound system, time delay, interior lighting, variable intermittent windshield or windscreen wipers, armrest, carpet kick pads, and cloth headlining. Sun visors and door trims. So sun visors and door trims over vinyl. An optional pack for the coupe added air conditioning, power steering, like the important stuff, air conditioning, power steering, and power sunroof, or electric sunroof. The hatchback's option pack added the same aircon, power steering, and aircon, power steering, and electric sunroof or power sunroof. So for both the coupe and the hatchback versions, they have air conditioning, power steering, and power sunroof. Power sunroof. By the time of the August So the August 1985. So 1985. So by the time of the August 1985, say 1985 brochure, the Coupe's or the Coupe's option pack had been deleted. So had been deleted. So deleted. But the standard SGL Coupe. So SGL Coupe added power steering and a manual sunroof, which a power sunroof was no longer offered. So they have the manual one better, which is much better, faster, and easier to use, whereas the electric sunroof just takes forever. So by the time of the August 1985 brochure, the coupe's option pack had been deleted, so had been gone, but the standard SGL coupe added both power steering and a manual sunroof. A power sunroof was no longer offered. Air conditioning or aircon remained as an option, while power steering was added to the hatchback's option pack. So hatchback's option pack. The alloy wheel design was also changed. The facelifted Mark II models were released to Australia So the facelifted Mark II models were released to Australia in circa, which is like the preposition, well, formal preposition. That means like approximately or around 1986. Next up we got is the revisions. It's not much on it, so it's not much on there. The S12 chassis in both 1984, 86 is referred to as Mark 1. So Mark 1 with Mark 2 as a revision in 1987. So 1987. So below lists the description of both. So starting off with the first one is the Mark 1. Alright, next one, Mark 1. So Mark 1. The first trim of the S12 chassis. Bumpers featured matte finish raised surface. So matte finish raised surfaces, and sides featured half-inch rubber stripping or rub stripping or whatever it's called. So, and sides featured half-inch rubber strips. So rubber stripping. Cars featured a honeycomb radiator grille. So radiator grille and long corner lights. It's a long corner light. It's like corner lights. The RSX trim in both Japan and Europe received a hood scoop accent to accommodate the oversized dimensions of the FJ20E and FJ20ET engines, and featured a faux front vent with monogram, either FJ20 DOHC, so DOHC or turbo, say or turbo. In North America, the 1984 turbo came with a turbo, so capital turbo, so turbo in capital letters, so a turbo monogrammed hood bulge, so or hood scoop accent, so hood scoop accent. Um, although all subsequent North American Mark I hoods or bonnets were flat regardless of the trim level, so regardless of trim. In some markets, the 84 and 85, so 1984 and 1985, so in some markets, the 1984 and 1985, say 1985, could be had with a foam rubber deck spoiler, so rear wing. So foam rubber deck spoiler in the back. So foam rubber deck spoiler. In 1986, the foam rubber deck spoiler was changed from a fiberglass version with an integrated third brake light. Some hatchbacks and all turbo models came with ground effects. So ground effects, as did the RSX coupe. So RSX coupes, they had a combo, so combination of plastic mud flaps monogrammed as either Nissan or Silvia in applicable markets, and accommodating foam rubber side skirts, as well as a foam rubber lower deflection lip. 1984 year foam rubber side skirts. So 1984 year foam rubber side skirts. Side skirts. So side skirts featured the Nissan monogram. Next up is the Mark II version. So there's not much on there, but let's do it. So Mark II. Here we go. In 1986, the bumpers were updated, and so the bumpers were updated, and the matte finishes. So the matte finished surfaces were eliminated. Eliminated for a more uniform surface. Rubber stripping. So rubber stripping was increased to 2-inch height with scribe detailing. So scribe detailing. So detailing. The honeycomb radiator grill. So honeycomb radiator grill. The honeycomb radiator grill. So radiator grill was replaced with a slanted version that spanned the entire front end. So the previous one was shorter. And corner lights, so the corner lights, or the side lights or side blinkers, turn signals, whatever you call it, or whatever you want to call it, were shortened. The SE, I think it's special edition, I don't know, model, and the turbo, so turbo for both Canada and Europe, came with new fiberglass ground effects and mud flaps painted in the color of the car, and a new and more pronounced lower deflection lip in the front. all Mark II S12s received a new reversal cowl, so a new reverse cowl sorry, it's a reverse cowl, hood scoop, um, hood scoop, designed to accommodate clearance for the new 3 liter V6. Optional rear mud flap accents were available. All right, next up we got is the drivetrain for rear-wheel drive. Starting off with the engine. All right, probably wondering what this is for. So this is for the different engines for the car, and how many cylinders it would have, and like all that kind of stuff. And the variants from where it is from, like North America, Japan, the size, valve train aspiration, if it's naturally aspirated, turbocharged, all that kind of stuff, power, torque, drivetrain, gearbox, blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. So first off is the CA18S, and also the CA18E. Both from Japan. There are 4 cylinders, both 1.8 liters. So single overhead cam, 8 valves. So the S version is naturally aspirated. The E version is single turbocharged. So single turbo. So for the S version, it made 100 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 150 newton meters, 110 pound-feet of torque at 2,800 RPMs. The E version, slightly more power, 113 horsepower, so 113 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, approximately, and 162 newton meters, 119 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 RPMs. Drivetrain was a rear-wheel drive. Transmission you get is a 3-speed auto, so a 3-speed auto and a 5-speed manual. Sounds pretty good. It says both the C18, so the CA18 S and E from Japan done. Next up we got is the CA18 ET. So CA18 ET. And so the CA18 ET. So the CA18 ET and the CA18E, both from North America with dual ignition. So from North America, and then we got in Europe. So we got the same one in Europe, just with also dual ignition. Both 1.8 liters, so 4 cylinders, 1.8 liters. Single overhead cam, 8 valve. So single overhead cam, 8 valve. So 8 valve. Single turbo. At 5,200 RPMs. So 5,200 RPMs. So 5,200 RPMs. So 5,200 RPMs. 120 horsepower at 3,200 RPMs. 182 newton meters. 134 pound-feet of torque. All of them are rear-wheel drive, with either 4-speed autos or 5-speed so either 4-speed autos or 5-speed manuals. So C18ET, C18E, North America, dual ignition. 1.8 liters. And then we got another one with 120. Hold on, wait. So we got the same one, but just with slightly better torque. 184. So a slightly better torque. So slightly better torque. 184 newton meters. 136 pound-feet. So 2 newton meters, 2 pound-feet better. Still the same 3,200 RPMs, so 5,200 RPMs. So 5,200 RPMs for power and 3,200 RPMs for torque. So still the same, just bumped up the torque a little bit, just slightly. So still single turbo. Yeah, then we got another one with 5,200 RPMs. Say 5,200 RPMs. It's the same RPM and torque. So same RPMs for both power and torque, but power is 120 horsepower and slightly better torque. So same power output, 120 horsepower, but just the torque a little bit better, which is 184 newton meters. 136, so 184 newton meters, 136 pound-feet. I think I noticed. Oh, sorry, hold on. Alright, now we got. So I guess in Europe. Then we got another one with 133. So at 6,000 RPM. So 6,000 RPM. It makes 100. So 6,000 RPM. 133 horsepower. So 133 horsepower. And at 4,000 RPM, 187. So slightly better torque, 187 newton meters. So newton meters, 138 pound-feet. So 138 pound-feet at 4,000 RPM. Rear drive, either 4-speed autos or 5-speed manuals. Then we got the CA18. So CA18D. So CA18D. So D18. From Japan. So 4 cylinders, 1.8 liters, dual HC. So this is dual HC. So dual overhead cam, double overhead cam, 16 valve. Single turbo, which makes 170 horsepower. So it's a lot better power output by I'd say 40 horsepower, I'd say. Roughly like 37, somewhere around there. So 170 horsepower. So 170 horsepower at 6,400 RPM. And a lot better, way better torque. So way better torque. I'm talking 212 newton meters. 156 pound-feet at 4,000 RPM. It's pretty good. Rear-wheel drive, 4-speed auto, 5-speed manual. So that was a CA18 DET done. This next one is the CA20E. So CA20E. It's the CA20. So the CA20. So CA20E, so CA20E engine. So in both North America, so it produces the engine in North America and in Australia, just with also with dual ignition in Australia. 2 liters SOHC and SOHC. So single overhead cam, 8 valve, naturally aspirated. So for the North American version, it makes 102 horsepower at 5200 RPM and 157 newton meters. It's 157 newton meters. 116 pound-feet of torque at 3200 RPM. Now for the Australian version, because it got dual ignition, it would make more power, and it has made 3 horsepower more, so it makes 105 horsepower at the same RPMs and slightly better torque, just by 3 newton meters, 2 pound-feet better. So 160 newton meters, 118 pound-feet at the same RPM. Same rear-wheel drive, same 4-speed auto, 5-speed manual. So here's so North America, dual ignition, Australia. So North American, 102 horsepower, Australian 105. Torque, North America 116 pound-feet. So 116 pound-feet, 157 newton meters. That's North American. Australian 160 newton meters. So 160 newton meters. 118 pound-feet. Both of them are at 3200 RPM. Rear-wheel drive. 4-speed auto, 5-speed manual. Alright, next up is the F20E. So F20E, and the F20ET. So starting off with, so both of them are like they're from Germany. Like, well, the F20, so the FJ20E is from Germany. It doesn't say where it's from for the turbo version of that engine, but presumably I think it's also from Germany. Not too sure, but they're both 4 cylinders, 2 liters, 2 HC, 16 valve. However, the F20E version is naturally aspirated with 143 horsepower. So 143 horsepower. So 143 horsepower at 6400 RPM. So 6400 RPM. 175 newton meters. So 175 newton meters. 175 newton meters. 129 will round up to 130 pound-feet of torque at 4800 RPM. So 48. So 6400 RPMs for the power, 4800 for torque. So 4800 for torque. So that's the one from Germany. And then we got the FJ20ET. Now you'd expect this to make more power with a turbo, and it does. Same 2 liters, same DOHC 16 valve, 4 cylinders, but however, with a single turbo, it makes a whopping 44 more horsepower increase, bringing it to a total power output of 187 horsepower, but this time to 100 RPMs more, so 6500 RPMs, so 6,500 RPMs more. So with 187 horsepower and with much better torque by 50 newton meters, so 50 newton meters, 44 pound-feet, so 235, so 235, so 235 newton meters, so newton meters, 173 pound-feet at 4,800 RPMs. And last but certainly not the very least, is the VG30, so VG30E. Both in North America. So first one from 1987, and then the other one from 1988. So 1988. Both inline sixes, well V6s, then 3 liters. SOHC, so single overhead cam. So single overhead cam. So single overhead cam. 12 valve. Both naturally aspirated. Both have a torque of 236. So 236 newton meters. So 236 newton meters, 174 pound-feet at 4,800 RPM. However, for power output, that's completely different. They're both naturally aspirated. However, the 1987 version, so they're both power output, so they both have a power RPM at 5,200 RPM. However, the 1987 version made 160 horsepower. So 160 horsepower. So 160 horsepower. Whereas the 1988 version made a bit more. 165 horsepower. So 5 horsepower more than what 1987 made. So both same torque. Both got the same torque. So both got the same torque. 236 newton meters. 174 pound-feet at 4,800 RPMs. Transmission, so they're both rear-wheel drive. Transmission, 4-speed auto. So 4-speed auto and 4-speed auto and 5-speed manual. Pretty good. Alright, we're almost done with this. Just got 3 parts left. We got special editions, motorsports, and motorsports in Japan. So there's not much on here, but let's do it. So first off, special editions. In Europe, a limited run, so a limited run version of the Silvia, which I believe was like 250 units, was both produced and sold as the Silvia Grand Prix. So Silvia Grand Prix model, so both produced and sold as the Silvia Grand Prix model. So Silvia Grand Prix model, based on the Mark 1 chassis, it's powered by the FJ20E. So FJ20E, with a few known to be sold with the CA18 DET turbo, and featured molded in fiberglass wide body fenders. So wide body fenders, quarter sections, and special edition wheels. The exterior takes design cues from popular European rally cars. So rally cars of the time, Although Nissan's choice of the FJ20, so FJ20E over the turbocharged variant, so turbocharged variants um, of the FJ20E, known as the FJ20ET, which is turbo, suggests this was more of a rally-inspired car. So rally-inspired car. Say rally-inspired car, rather than a, rather than a, so rather than a rather than a serious performance trim. Say performance trim. The Silvia Grand Prix holds the Silvia Grand Prix holds the distinction as one of the rarest incarnations of the S12, so S12, along with the CA18 DET engined RSX in Japan. So in Japan, a special anniversary model. So anniversary model was produced and sold as the 50th anniversary version. So 50th anniversary version to celebrate like 50 years, I think, with the CA18. So the CA18. So CA18 DET. Between 100 and 300 units between 100 and 300 units were sold. It came with a white and gold two-tone decals and interior, gold wheels, an electronic instrument cluster, sat-nav, voice warning system, gold badges, and gold keys. Next up, motorsports. The elimination the elimination so the elimination of elimination of group B so group B group B from the WRC championship. So from the WRC WRC signified the end of Nissan's FJ24 powered 240 RS. So 240 RS. The FJ20 ET power. So the FJ20 ET powered Silvia RSX of 1986 so 1986 would have been Nissan's first choice. However, there was an insufficient number, so insufficient number of that exact trim sold in Japan. So Japan, to meet the WRC's World Rally Championships is homologation requirements. A minimum of 5,000 units. And I thought it was 200, but also for road going versions, I believe. So minimum 5,000 units. Therefore, Nissan had to quickly find a car to replace the 240 RS. The North American 1987. So the North American 1987 200 SX SE. So special edition, I think it was. V6 was both chosen and complete. So chosen and competed in 1986, so 1986, 89, or just 1986, 1989. Sorry, 1986. Sorry, 1986. So 1986, 1980. So 1986, 1989. 1986, 1989. So 86 to 1986 to 1989. As a 200 SX. Nissan's creation and choice. Nissan's creation and choice. So Nissan's creation and choice of this car ensured they could sell 5,000 cars. So 5,000 cars. So cars required for WRC. So WRC World Rally Championship homologation. So homologation. There we go. The S12 SE trims V6. So V6 held the only real appeal. So only real appeal to the North American market, allowing Nissan to sell rights at 5,000 cars. So 5,000 cars 5,000 cars to a single spec or single specification. The V6 was a very only the V6 was a very only the V6 was a very excuse me. The V6 was a very unusual choice as the WRC. So World Rally Championship was dominated by four-cylinder. So was dominated by four-cylinder. So four-cylinder 2-liter. So 2-liter turbocharged engines. So turbocharged or just turbo engines. Although for similar reasons, Toyota entered WRC with the inline-six Supra. So a 6-cylinder Supra. Not really sure which one, but I believe it was the Mark III Supra, I think. I'm not too sure. Or was it a Mark II? I'm not 100% sure. So a 6-cylinder Supra. Say Supra. Supra. There we go. At the same time, the 200 SX achieved first place in the 1988 Ivory so at the 1988 Ivory Coast Rally. So Ivory Coast Rally. I believe it's in the Netherlands, I think. I'm not 100% sure. So 1988 Ivory Coast Rally. It's a Coast Rally. And second place for 2 years, running in the very challenging Safari Rally 1988 and 1980. So 1988 and 1989. Say 1988 and 1989. Say 1988 and 1989. Mark Scaife, I can't pronounce the name correctly. So his full name is Mark Stephen Scaife. Born April 3rd, 1967, from Gosford, New South Wales, Australia. Who's an Australian former race car driver. He's also a 5-time champion of the V8 supercar Supercar Championship Series, including its predecessor, the Australian Touring Car Championship, or the ATCC, as well as a six-time Bathurst 1000 winner. On October 29th, 2008, so 2 days before Halloween, he announced his retirement from full-time touring car racing. So touring car racing. Since retiring from driving, Mark worked as both a commentator and commentator and presenter for the series for both the Seven Network, and Fox Sports, Fox Sports, Australia. So Mark Scaife won the 1987, so 1987, so 87 Australian, 2 liter touring car championship. So touring car championship, driving a Nissan Gazelle, entered by the NMC, Nissan Motor Company. Nissan Motor Company. And last but certainly not to be released, is motorsports in Japan, and that now marks the end of the S12. And then moving on to the next version. So last up, motorsports in Japan. Then we'll end it there. So let's finish this. The Silvia S12, the Silvia S12 competed in the JSS, which stands for Japanese, but which stands for Japan. So Japan Supersports. So Japan Supersports Series. Throughout the 1980s, so throughout the 80s it was. So throughout the 1980s, when many of the top tuners got their start, they featured 15 by 10 inch so they featured 15 by 10 inch J wheels under the Fisco wide body kit. The JSS S12s made between let's see, so between 280 to between 276 to 300, between 276 to 335 horsepower, which is around, if we round up, with almost a manufacturer's stated specification, that's between 280 to 340 horsepower. So 280 horsepower, that's like almost the same power as an R32, R33, and R34 GTRs. But that's the gentleman's agreement to it. And 340 horsepower, that's the same power output as both a Mark V Supra, A90, and so A90 GR and a BMW Z4, so Z4 G29. So BMW and Toyota, even though they're kind of almost the same car, which they are. Because underneath the Toyota, it's basically a BMW underneath the whole skin and skeleton to it. The whole frame structure, like interior, engine, all that kind of stuff. So it's basically the same. So the JSS S12s made between 276 to 335 horsepower. So horsepower from the FJ20. So FJ20E. So from both the FJ20. So FJ20. Can't even talk. FJ20ET. So FJ20ET and CA18 DET turbocharged. So CA18 DET turbocharged engines from 1987. Last part, and then I'll end it there. I'm gonna take a break because it just keeps screwing up. The HKS, so like the Japanese sponsor HKS, where they do a lot of cool stuff like air intakes, turbos, exhausts, intercoolers, camshafts, gauges, suspension, all that kind of stuff. The HKS, so HKS, HKS, HKS World Trade, Silvia, both sponsored and engineered, so both sponsored and engineered by they were both sponsored and engineered by both tuners, HKS, so, there we go, by both HKS, so companies HKS and Tomei. So HKS and Tomei ran in this series. Alright, phew, finally, thank God for that. So like both HKS and Tomei, they're really good with their exhaust systems, but HKS does it way more than that. They do like air intakes, turbos, intercoolers, exhausts, suspensions, camshafts, timing belts, all that kind of stuff. Gauges, you name it, they do it. Okay, phew, finally done. Alright, so for my next Silvia video will be about the next one, which is like the best one of all time. So for my next Silvia video will be about the mighty S13. That's right, the S13 Silvia. So S13 Silvia. I say Silvia. So hopefully I'll try not to screw up. So hopefully I'll try not to screw up on this. I apologize if I did, just because I keep messing up the words. It's just I can't really say it right. I just can't say it properly though, and I sometimes have to keep repeating it in order to correctly say it. So I apologize if that happens. I apologize 100%. I'll try not to screw up on the next video. I'll do my best as much as I can to improve. I promise. Okay, so yeah, so that'll be it. That's gonna wrap it up. So yeah, so for my next Silvia video will be about the S13 Silvia. Alright. So that'll be it. If you guys like this video, make sure you like it. Like the video, subscribe. Say like the video, subscribe. Say like the video, subscribe. Comment down below. So comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell and hit all so you're alerted of when I make brand new uploads. Alright, so that'll be it. I gotta go to bed. It is currently 12:16 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So Wednesday morning. I say Wednesday morning. Alright, so I gotta go. I'll see you guys soon in the next video. So I'll see you guys soon in the next video. But until then, stay safe, have a great night, and have a great morning. And I'll see you guys soon in the next video. So I gotta go. So take care, folks. Stay safe out there. So take care, folks. Stay safe. Take care, folks. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys soon. Good night. So, good night, folks.